Yeah, I'm Amanda Lababera, and I am the daughter of the late Rosemary, which your team looked after wonderfully through the end stages of her life.
How did you first hear about the Rapid Response Service?
Okay, Mum's discharge from hospital was quite quick due to the timescales, and we actually heard about your service when the paramedic team dropped her back home. They handed us a leaflet with your number on and said that obviously we could call out of ours this number, so that's what we did.
Oh, that's absolutely fabulous. And in your own words, can you sort of elaborate, if the Rapid Response Service wasn't available, what do you feel, how do you feel you would have managed with looking after your mother at home through those last few days?
I wouldn't have managed without the Rapid Response team. The support and reassurance that the nurses gave to us about my mum was invaluable. Without that, I don't even know what I'd have done. I think I'd have probably sent her back into hospital because I wouldn't have coped.
Oh. If it's not too raw, are you able to just run over the last, say, 24 hours and what happened from when your mother was received home in the early hours of the morning and you received her into the ambulance and when you first contacted our service?
Yeah, okay, so like I say, it was a rapid discharge from the hospital due to the timescales. She come home at 1 o'clock in the morning, the ambulance crew brought her in, settled her in bed. But unfortunately she didn't actually settle and her agitation was really high. She was throwing herself around, shouting. So I called the Rapid Response number and within 20 minutes they were there and they settled my mum. They did everything that they could to make her comfortable and to lessen her agitation. She settled. She only settled for a couple of hours, so I think I originally rang the first time was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was then back on the phone again at sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock, and again they came straight round. Although it might seem a long wait for somebody, they are so quick in arriving. I think it was probably 15 minutes this time. Again, they settled her. They explained that they were going to pass everything on to the district nursing team because obviously it was nearly that sort of time of day. The district nursing team, again, complements the Rapid Response team. So the district nurses then looked after her through the day and then come out of hours again and we're sort of like in the last hours now of my mum's life, and it was very, very upsetting and traumatic. So I rang the nurses again because her breathing had changed and they came at, well, unfortunately they didn't actually make it out in time and she passed away, but from the initial phone call, within about 20 minutes they were there again, and they looked after my mum with so much dignity. They cleaned her up, they laid her out beautifully, they reassured the family, they told us what we'd need to do next. If it hadn't been for the nurses, especially overnight, I wouldn't have been able to grant my mum's wish and help her remain at home. Yeah, the trauma and watching a loved one go through the end stages of their life is not explained to people, and when you're actually seeing it firsthand and you'll think that it's almost like they seem like they're gasping and in so much pain. The nurses come out, they'll settle obviously the person who's at end of life, but they don't just do that, they provide an invaluable service for families. You know, the reassurance, They comfort people, they reassure them that they're doing a fantastic job, they reassure them that actually this is quite natural process of dying, which I don't think everyone is fully aware of, especially when it's something as traumatic as an illness such like cancer. I couldn't have done it, and I'm a care provider, which my agency provides end of life care for people, but on the flip side it is completely different, and without that half an hour, 20 minutes where you can actually step out of the room while the nurses are there, it actually gives you a chance to breathe and think, actually, do you know what, yeah, I can do this, and you go back in and you start again. But that's all thanks to the nurses and their compassion and just the way that they almost become a friend rather than a nurse. So you find yourself talking to them about real upsetting things that have happened, and they're then like, it's okay, that's quite natural, and they reassure you that the person isn't suffering, which I think is what you need. That's the main part.
Yeah,
that, you know, they're not suffering, and you're doing a great job, and to carry on, and you know, they'll be so proud of you for what they're doing for them right now, and that then sort of takes you back to, yeah, I can do this. And even if you don't need them to come out, even over the phone, they'll give you that reassurance, and they're there to talk to you. You know, if you have got a problem or a concern, you know, they'll talk to you over the phone, or they will just offer to come out and see you. Which, you know, in this day and age, if people are saying that somebody has a right to choose where they die, there needs to be that service to support people through that process. And I'm not just talking about the patients, I'm talking about the family. So yeah, thank you. Because without that service, I wouldn't have been able to grant my mum's wish to die at home.